Uh, a very good afternoon to all of you children. Respected Rajesh Mishra ji for inviting me to address you all, and some faculty members who are present here, and my dear children. I have a natural farm here which I have named after my late parents. My mother was a school teacher in Purnia in Ursuline Convent and later became principal of Manas Bharati School for a while before she passed away. My father was a journalist here. To cut a long story short, I worked in the corporate sector, in textile units, in polypropylene units, and then I was the state head for Reliance Anil Ambani Group for 10 years. It was it's an interesting journey. I call myself a story of transition from a blue-collared, white-collared job to being a very, very passionate natural farmer. My farm's name is Summer Shell Natural Farm, as Rajesh sir has told you. And this farm is named after my parents, as I said. And we call our farm as the world beyond organic. We are beyond organic, miles ahead of being organic. Organic is the buzzword these days. Everything in the name of organic, but we are beyond organic. So it's the world beyond organic. Children, I must tell you, you are on the threshold of many things now. I'm sure you would be from class 8 onwards or 7 onwards to 9th and 10th. So next year, after next year, you'll enter the real competitive world. But this is the time that you would be getting so much of information from so many sources. And I tell you, whatever you'll hear today, whatever you learn here, 8 years down the line, during a job interview, most of you would be writing the UPSC civil services. Many students from here have qualified for the civil services also. So all these things will help you, and I'm sure my good wishes are always with you all. I love children. Our farm is a unique farm in many ways. Before I come down to the brass tacks, let me tell you that it's a women and girls centric farm. Most of the workers at our farm are girls, and we have around 25-30 girls and women working at our farm every day. And these girls, when they get married, we also help them, we also undertake to get them married off, whatever you call it, dowry or arrangements and all that. We spend around 20,000, 25,000 per marriage of a girl child who works here. It is not because I want to do that. It's because I respect their labor, the dignity of labor and dignity of womanhood. So it's very, very good when you see those women, those young girls getting married and coming back after marriage to visit the farm. They talk about it at their in-laws' place, new surroundings that they are in, and they talk about the farm and how it's different. Summer Shell Natural Farm is also a farm with a difference. So this is more about the people who work for us. Now let me tell you, I'll begin when we start, have you ever noticed, or has it ever dawned on you that most of the things that happen to us are basically man-made? We are happy because of what we do. We are sad because of what happens to us. We are angry at what people do to us, and flurry of emotions that happen every time. Here at the farm, you would see, we talk of being, when we talk of India, we pride ourselves as a nation where unity and diversity is the key word. It's a pluralistic society. Similarly, in a farm, the notion that plants should be sown or cultivated, grown as a monocrop is also something that we have to dispel with. Just like we have company, we have diverse company. You have 3-4 friends who would share different ideas, who would share different beliefs. There would be friends from different communities, and all of us very happily grow in harmony. So in the world of nature, Mother Nature, crops also love to grow in harmony. They want diverse company. They speak their own silent languages. And you have to be intuitive enough to read that. And how do you read that? You will see when Mother Nature rewards you with a bounty. In our farm, when I tell you that's a world beyond organic, we don't use any fertilizers or pesticides or insecticides. Let me ask you, most of you are in class 9 and 10, and I'm sure in your geography and in classes of environment, you'd be hearing this word about climate change. Has it dawned on you ever? Why is there so much of climate change and why do we talk about it? Why do we talk about the climate change? Why do we talk about degradation of environment? Why does the United Nations have too many bodies devoted full time to the cause of environment and agriculture? It's because we are alarmed with the possibility of apocalypse. We have created a Frankenstein for ourselves with all these developments because there's a causal relationship between everything, the end use and for example, the air conditioners. We are comfortable, it brings you a lot of cool air and you like it, but it comes with a cost. Outside, it emits a lot of emissions which are very, very bad for the environment. We talk of in the industries being the main culprits behind this growing degradation of environment. But I tell you, agriculture is a passive contributor in a very, very big way in fostering this in degradation and in inviting this disastrous climatic patterns, weather patterns everywhere. For example, let me tell you, have you noticed, I'm sure you would be, most of your parents would tell you that when your parents were young, or when we were young in school, Purnia had a very widespread rainfall. It was a very wet place, there was a lot of greenery in Purnia. And so much so that I do not know if you all still study that book for your 10th class geography. I studied in St. Xavier's School, Sahibganj. And there we had a book on the Indian climate and weather and everything, a book called Monsoon Asia. I do not know if you all read that book these days. It was written by a writer called Charles Farrow. And I was very fascinated by that book. Why? Because it mentioned that the highest recorded rainfall in 24 hours was Purnia district of Bihar. Purnia held the record of having the maximum rainfall in 24 hours. So you know that thing gave me a big high. कि आर पूर्णिया मेरा पूर्णिया देखो साला बारिश में ही सबसे आगे है. You know so that thing, but that thing has gone. Now you have rainfall in the pattern is very erratic. It comes in spurts, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and then you have the whole month of heat and humidity, as you would have seen this year. And you would have also noticed that the weather, the temperatures are rising, or probably the same temperatures is causing you more humidity and heat. Winters would get more cold. Get out of this impasse some in 5 minutes, 10 minutes later. But let me tell you, sir, let me tell you, children, that our farm is a zero-till farm. We don't plow our field, we don't use tractors, we don't till our soil. We follow the principles set out by Masanobu Fukuoka, the Japanese Zen master. He says tilling the soil is a crime, is a sin. And we followed that. And now, as a matter of statistics, we have planted over 5 lakh trees in the last 6-7 years at our farm. 5 lakh trees is not is not a joke. And we have weathered all the vagaries of nature, whether it's the rainfall, whether it's the heat, humidity, whether it's the chill and the winter cold, or the fog, the dense fog cover. the workers, and it was leading from the front. Like as they say, an army is as good as its general. So if you lead from the front, if you set the precedent, you see the results are there. Wouldn't working be more enjoyable if there's a lot of harmony between the people who work with you? So the first thing I did was to win the trust and confidence of the girls and the women. Because I have two daughters myself. So the girls hold a special place in my heart. So I invited them. They were inhibited, they were slightly tentative, but when they came and they saw the love and affection that they got and the appreciation they got for what they do, you would be surprised that the girls at my farm, they climb onto the trees. Now there would be the pink pepper harvest beginning in 10 days. And the girls would climb onto the trees with skatiers and do the harvesting part. I post them all on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel that I have. I want people to see how girls can equal, if not better, the boys in what they do. The academic performance of the students everywhere, you would see girls are doing better than the boys when I talk for general thing. Not to undermine you boys, I have a lot of affection and a lot of love for you also. But it's a fact, I think the girls are more focused in their studies compared to the boys. We are, as a gender, we are more distracted and, we are more restless. The girls are quite tranquil and they study more. So let's give it to them. So here when we do the farming, now I come back to the actual thing that I'm talking about. When in our farm, when I came, it was a conventional organic farm, which was set up by my father. In 2016, in the August of 2016, my birthday is also in August, I quit my job with Reliance Anil Ambani Group. I was the head of the Reliance Anil Ambani Group for MP and Chhattisgarh. I quit my job and I came back to my ancestral farm, which is around 12-13 kilometers or at the most 15 kilometers from your school. And it's a 50-acre farm. So what we did was, initially, we started the transition from a organic to a natural farm. So what does that mean? That we must not till the soil. So it's a multi-layered farm. And let me tell you, when we talked about the vagaries of nature, have you noticed that of late in the last few years, the number of storms, the number of cyclones, the number of floods in the oceans, seas, that the tropical storms, Southeast Asia, everywhere, Afghanistan, now the earthquake, everywhere. It's so alarming. Why? And tell me, how many of you have heard the name of IPCC? When it comes in terms of environment, have you heard of the term IPCC? Anyone? Huh? Don't feel shy if you have heard, please tell me. It is, IPCC stands for Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC. I stands for Intergovernmental, P stands for Panel, and CC is for Climate Change. It's a UN body which was set up in 1988 with headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. And from among these, and it has 195 member countries as its members. And these members elect a panel of scientists to assess the climatic variations and the possible climatic temperatures or the patterns for the next 6-7 years. And based on that, they make models for governments to follow. It's not statutory, but it's incumbent on the part of the government to follow that for the betterment of their own societies and their own people. So according to this IPCC report in 2013 of 2023, it mentions a very alarming projection that the earth temperatures would go up by 1.5 degrees in the next 5 years. And probably that might possibly become the pattern. Now today Purnia has a temperature of 42, maximum temperature could be 42, 41, 43, right? Coupled with humidity.